Today, I want to talk all about how you can make friends in Australia. I'm saying this as someone who struggled quite a bit with making friends after I graduated from university. You'd notice that when you are in university, the environment is conducive as such that everyone there is there to make friends, and because the environment has been created in such a way where you have like-minded people who are of similar interests, you're studying similar academic things, it's much easier to form social circles and also create meaningful friendships. So this would be for school, college, university. It's much easier because you also have student groups, associations. So even if you were not part of student groups and associations, you get the chance to mingle with people through your lectures and tutorials and other things like that. However, I noticed that when I graduated from university and I started working full time, I struggled tremendously with being able to form social connections. So, this is for people who are probably done with university and they're working full time. And also, if they don't really have family in Australia, I have no family in Australia. And for me, I didn't even have family to turn to for socialization. So, I was completely alone. And I learned a lot in the process of trying to make friends. There was a lot of trial and error in seeing how I can find my social circle. What I'm sharing today, I hope that it, at least one or two points, might be useful for you. If that's the case, then I think I've done a meaningful job. I know that when I was working full time, a lot of the people, or most of the people, were middle aged people from Australia, and they all had, their families, their wives, husbands, their children, or their pets, and they were all well settled. So they were also had their own kind of social group outside of work. And given the fact that they were anyway quite settled and well acquainted with their friends and the situation and the country and everything, there was not much of an incentive for them to actively go out and kind of seek that friendship with fellow colleagues. I noticed that um, in the workplace, people are very, very friendly and very open, and that's wonderful. However, I think that I noticed, or at least from my perspective, people in the workplace like to keep the connections more in the workplace, and I think they prefer to have their friendships outside of the workplace. So in terms of work, I think yes, it is possible to make friends with fellow employees or fellow colleagues, although I think the environment is not always conducive. I don't think I've had the best friendships formed in the workplace. So this is basically for ways in which we can make use of opportunities outside of work on a personal level. A couple ways that you can um, kind of find your group of friends. Yes, it is definitely hard to find friends when you are no longer in university. And I think that loneliness is quite a big problem, especially among younger people, um, given the fact that most of us kind of go to our phones and we kind of tend to spend more time indoors. I think it's tougher now than any time before for younger people to actually find their right social groups. So, for starters, I will say that one of the best things you can do is use the Meetup app. This is a very popular app used in Australia for basically attending events, and you can attend a wide range of events. So if you go to the Meetup app, you can basically join groups, and these groups, there are many groups, maybe hundreds of groups. And there's a group maybe for board games, there's a group for hiking, there's a group for exploration, there's a group for fishing, a bunch of groups. So whatever your passion is, you'll definitely find a group. And these groups, they post events, and what you do is, if you like the event, you RSVP and you attend the event. And with this, you are able to meet like-minded people, and the whole point of these groups is to actually share common connections over hobbies. So the environment is very conducive to meeting new people and making friends. A lot of my friends that I currently have, I actually met through the Meetup app. You'll see that there are quite a few events oriented particularly around making new friends and meeting new people. One that I went to was drink coffee and make friends, and this was a Friday night thing, and I made some wonderful friends there. What's special about these ones is that when you go to meetup events where people want to make friends, it's very easy to start conversations because everyone there has that set goal in mind for meeting people. So it isn't like you need to be embarrassed about approaching someone because the environment is such that everyone is happy to be approached and everyone is also keen to approach others. So if you're looking to basically go to meetup groups, one of the best things is meetup.com. It's on the website and also you can download the app. Last I remembered, it's a red icon, a red logo. And when you log in, you can also look at the map, and from the map around your location, you can zoom in, zoom out, and you can see the events and groups that are there. Or you can go in the search icon and you can kind of search, for example, if you like coffee, you can search coffee and there might be a meetup group for coffee. You can search yoga, there'll be a meetup group for yoga. You can search tennis. Tennis is a very big one, badminton, and there'll always be meetups there. And there's a few meetups now just for making friends. So maybe making friends in this city for people aged 20 to 30 or for people aged 35 to 40. And a lot of these events are free. Most of them are free. Sometimes there's a small contribution fee. When you RSVP, you need to maybe get a ticket or something. But from what experience or what I've seen, they're quite cheap. If you're living in the city of Melbourne, a very good one is Explore Melbourne. And this group basically has events, I think 2 or 3 events a week, and a lot of them are free. Some of them are paid, and the ones that are paid I saw are the excursions, but the ones that are free are more like walk around the botanical or maybe make friends or meetups and stuff. If you're international, like an immigrant or something, there's quite a few groups around international friends, so you get to meet people from around the world who are also keen to make friends. And language exchanges are also quite common. So if you're learning a language, people go to these language exchanges. For example, maybe you want to learn Spanish but you speak English, so you'll wear a name tag that says I speak English but I'm learning Spanish, and someone else who's maybe learning English but speaks Spanish, you can see them and identify them from your tag, and then you can do a little bit of a language exchange. So both of you are getting to know each other, and you're also getting to practice the language that you both want to learn. I have a couple friends who are learning Japanese. They're not Japanese by origin, but they're learning it, and they've gone for some of these language meetups, and they've managed to practice their Japanese. They've managed to help other people with their English, and at the same time they've also managed to make meaningful friendships in the process. You can go on Facebook and join the Facebook group for your suburb. For example, let's say you live in the suburb of Caulfield in Melbourne. You can search Caulfield residents in Melbourne. There always is a suburb page with thousands of people living in the suburb. So what you can do is you can be up to date of all the events that are happening near you, and quite a few of these suburb groups have basically an update of all the things that are happening, the events, or maybe some farmers markets and stuff like that. And that's a good way for you, even if you can't always make friends, at least you can get out into the community and meet people. Because sometimes I think even when you're lonely, even if you're lonely, sometimes you don't even need friends. Sometimes the thing is you just want to see other people. So if you can just get the chance to maybe see the updates of your suburb page on Facebook, you'll see a bunch of events. So you can just go say hi to some people. Even if you aren't able to exchange contacts and become friends with people, at least you get to go into the community and see some friendly faces. I remember when I was living in the Mornington Peninsula, I joined the Mornington Peninsula Facebook residents group, and I saw a bunch of events. I didn't go to them, but instead what I did was I posted and I said, hey, my interests are reading, tennis and all this stuff. So someone actually replied to my post, and they said, hey, I have a book club that I run and would love for you to join. So because of me joining that suburb group, making that post and saying that these are my interests, someone actually made a reply, and through that reply I was able to join a group. So I would say that one of the great things you can do is definitely join the suburb group. So search whichever suburb you're in, search on Facebook, XYZ suburb group, and you might have one or two groups for this, and see the events, see what people are posting, and kind of, maybe attend some of the events. If you're interested, also maybe make a post and say, hey, I'm interested in meeting some people or some like-minded people who can share my passion for whatever, golf, fishing, whatever it is, and you're bound to get some replies. So maybe people would want to meet with you one-on-one, or maybe like in my case, someone will reply and say, hey, I have this group that I run, would love for you to also join, we're looking for new members. Another thing is you can also search in the groups on Facebook related to your hobbies. For example, running. If you like running, there'll be some running clubs. Just set the location to the city you're in, and you'll find some running clubs. For example, running in Melbourne, you'll definitely find there are quite a lot of those, or maybe kayaking, rowing, whatever it is, you'll always find them. And for me, what was great is there was a group called Beginning Hiking in Melbourne, and this was a group, or is a group, with maybe like 15,000 members, and there are a bunch of events there. And I remember being a member of this group for almost a year, until things got pretty lonely, and I was like, okay, I think it's time that I actually maybe went to one of the events. I remember going to my first event, and it was so wonderful. I met a bunch of friendly faces, and one of the friends I currently have, I actually met at this hiking group. So that is quite wonderful. And I got so familiar with the hiking group that after a couple months, I decided to host my first hiking event, and a bunch of people showed up, and it was really one of the most wonderful things ever. And then I made my own little community within this larger community of the hiking group, and since then, every 1 or 2 months, I'm hosting a hiking event, and it's really wonderful because I feel like I'm kind of helping to bring people together, and I really enjoy that as well. If you enjoy reading books and you are a male, there is a book club called Tough Guy Book Club. Now, this is where this book club is throughout Australia, and there are hundreds and hundreds of locations. So maybe in the city of Melbourne, I'm guessing there must be 30 or 40 of the Tough Guy Book Club locations. So it falls under the umbrella of Tough Guy Book Club, and you might see that Tough Guy Book Club operates in your suburb or in a suburb very close to you. And normally this consists of gentlemen who come together every month to discuss a book. And the whole point of this book club is for basically men to get into reading, to talk about literature, and also to form a community. I was a member of this club for, I think, a few years, and I quite enjoyed it. Each month there would be a challenge that you kind of do, and you discuss the challenge, and also you, in a circle, you kind of go around and you talk about how you've been keeping, and everyone gets a chance to kind of talk about on a personal and emotional level how they've been keeping. So I think this is really good because it created a sense of community, especially through the challenges. You do group challenges together, so even when you're meeting on a monthly basis, even in between that, you kind of get to see your fellow peers. And in this, you're actually called goons. So basically, all members of the Tough Guy Book Club are called goons, and if you operate in maybe Caulfield, you're the Caulfield chapter. If you operate in St Kilda, which is another suburb, you're the St Kilda chapter. So if you like books, especially works of fiction, and you really enjoy getting in depth, the Tough Guy Book Club is definitely something that you can explore. They are very, very welcoming, and the only rule is that you don't be a dick. Like, literally they say that's, I think it's written in their rule book, don't be a dick. What's also really nice about it is, in the book club, you are never allowed to discuss work. You are never allowed to discuss what you do, because the whole premise of the book club is that they believe that you are much more than your job title or the work you do. So people want to actually get to know you for who you are on a much deeper level. So I think that creates a wonderful bridge to deeper connection. I enjoyed my time at Tough Guy Book Club. If you're looking to get into books while also make friends and join a community of like-minded people who also live near to you, Tough Guy Book Club is definitely something that you can do. They do a lot of charity events as well, so you'll definitely get to meet people, not just once a month, but the club is made in such a way that even in between those monthly meetings, there's always a chance to meet again, whether it's fundraising events, challenges, whatever it may be. Something else that you can do is go to your local library. Almost every suburb in Australia has a local library. And when you go to the entrance or somewhere around that area, the main area, you will see a community bulletin. And this bulletin will have a range of events that are organized by the council, many of which are free. There might be yoga events, there might be meditation events, there might be well-being events, there might be events to do with gardening. So if you have any event over there that you see that you resonate with, it's a really good opportunity for you to go and attend the event, because you will get to see people who are also interested in something that's similar. And what's also good is if they're there, they might have also been attracted to it after seeing the community bulletin, which means that they also probably frequent the library, and they probably live quite close to you if they're a member of that library. So when you go and you attend these events, likelihood is you'll be able to maintain connections with them, with people who live in close proximity to you. I remember going for a yoga event, which was for free, and it was supported or funded by the council after I saw this on the council library community bulletin. And this was around yoga, and I had a great time, and I also met some wonderful people in the community. They were a little bit older than me, but still it gave me the chance to actually get out and get to know the people around me. Something else that you can do is you can do volunteering. I'm going to talk about a couple of the places that I volunteered at. The first was a soup kitchen. So this is a place called Anna Lakshmi in Perth, which is basically where it's pay as you feel. All people are basically able to eat there, and if you don't have much money, you don't need to contribute much. If you're willing to pay a little bit more and you're feeling generous, you can pay more, but there's no set price on anything. And some people can even go there for free if they don't have the means. So I quite liked that whole system. I found it quite wonderful, so I decided to volunteer there. And what happened was, when I was able to volunteer, I was able to socialize with people in the community, and that gave me a chance to see some friendly faces, and it also gave me a chance to know some people around me. And I got to become friends with the volunteers next to me, and some of the volunteers I actually met more than once outside of the volunteering opportunity, and we did some fun activities together, and that was really great. And I'm still in touch with I think one or two of them even to this day, even though it was about 7 or 8 years ago. What happens when you're volunteering is you also you tend to feel more connected to the people around you, because you're doing something that's meaningful and engaging for the community, and this definitely would increase your overall sense of satisfaction when you're around people. Something else that I've done is I worked at Save the Children book collection center. So basically what happened was, I was working at a warehouse where donated books were sent to this warehouse, and I was helping to organize them based on genre and author. And accordingly, once they're collated, they are sent to the actual shops and in these shops, people will buy these books, and whatever proceeds are made, this goes to charity. So that's another thing that I volunteered at. And this was great because a lot of the people that were volunteering there were actually retired people. So this gave me the chance to socialize with people who were older than me. And I remember whenever I went there, they were always really happy to see me because I was a younger person. They were thrilled whenever I'd offer to, help carry boxes and all for them, because they were a little bit frail. And they really enjoyed seeing a young person, because I think I had quite a lot of energy. Also, for me, it was wonderful because I got to become friends with older people in the community, and whenever I met them, they'd all have such incredible stories, and I felt like they had so much wisdom to share. And I always really looked forward to working at this community book warehouse collection center. The final place that I volunteered at was an old age home. So this was great because I was looking to basically make a meaningful contribution to other people when I was feeling lonely, and at the same time, some of the most lonely people, unfortunately, are in this old age home. So for me, it was like a reciprocal thing. I remember I'd go every week and I'd have a chat with people who were in their 90s, and they had so much wisdom, and I really looked forward to going to the old age home, and they were equally excited to see me. And I normally went after university class, and every week I'd have a chat. Some of the residents I'd maybe do some painting activities with. There was one resident I'd often go to, and we'd have a game of chess, and that was really wonderful. And that just got me into the community more, and it just got me to see some more friendly faces. And while seeing friendly faces, it gave me the chance to actually contribute meaningfully to the people around me. With volunteering, it may not always guarantee you the chance to make friends, because at the end of the day, you're actually volunteering. And people who are there to volunteer, sometimes you're maybe volunteering alone, sometimes you're volunteering with other people, but their focus might just be to actually volunteer. So that does not always mean that you're guaranteed to make social connections. However, I would say that it's very useful to actually get out into the community, to make a meaningful contribution, and at the same time engage with people who have friendly faces and actually get to know people. Because sometimes when you're lonely, you just want to chat with strangers, and when you're volunteering, there's no better place to do it. So the way to find volunteering opportunities is normally actually on the community library bulletin. That's one thing you can do, and also you can search near you volunteering opportunities. There are quite a lot of op shops, also known as opportunity shops, and this is where such as the Salvation Army or St. Vincent's, and this is where people basically, or they're called thrift shops basically, or thrift shops, and this is where you can actually just walk in and just say, hey, you want to volunteer, what's the process, and they're always looking for volunteers. So there are many places you can actually just walk into. So another thing that you can do is actually, if you are interested in a sport, you can call the specific sports center on the phone and ask them about their social program. In my case, I was interested in playing tennis. So what I did is I searched tennis centers near me, and the nearest one, I gave them a call and I asked what their social tennis program was like. And this was basically tennis, as you probably guessed, but through a social lens. So basically, people in the community nearby to the tennis court would meet once or twice a week, and they would play social tennis. And this is a great way to play the sport that you enjoy, burn some calories, and also at the same time be in an environment that's conducive to making social connections. So if it's called social tennis, social football, social whatever, basically the whole goal is for you to play the sport but also make some friends in the process. I made some friends while doing social tennis, and for me, I think for quite a lot of weeks the clubs will trial social tennis, or maybe they'll do it for a couple weeks where it's completely free, and then maybe it's a small $5 contribution or something for a 2-hour session. But for the social events, quite a few of them are free, and if not, then they're small contributions. You don't even need to be a member of the club. So if you're interested in maybe football or whatever it is, call the center and just ask about their social program, and you can join. And what's good is, because it's social, it puts less pressure on actually performance and trying to be competitive, and it actually gives more of an opportunity to make some friends doing something that you enjoy. Another thing that you can do is you can join maybe jiu-jitsu or kickboxing. I mean, you don't necessarily have to join this in particular, but you can enjoy maybe a Pilates class or a yoga center. You can go to any of these places with sports that you're interested in, and if you become a member and you go to the regular classes, you'll get to see friendly faces and bond over hobbies that you enjoy. Oftentimes, for example, in jiu-jitsu, they have maybe once every 6 months they have a social barbecue and stuff, so that also gives you a chance to meet people in your jiu-jitsu class and get to know them nicely. I had a couple friends from kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. I got to know them outside of class. When you're in class, you're not only rolling, you're not only sparring, but you're also in between the rounds getting to chat with people. And if you find that there's a good connection, it's a good chance for you to maybe exchange contact details and get to form a friendship that you can actually carry out to outside the jiu-jitsu and kickboxing classes. So you can also go to yoga. This is just an example, but you can go yoga, Pilates, rowing, whatever it is. And these are great ways to actually engage in your hobby and also make some friends in the process, especially when you're going consistently to the classes and you're seeing the same faces again. The environment is very good to actually, when you see the same faces, to actually strike up conversations and actually have meaningful friendships in the process. There's also a lot of CrossFit classes, and which are membership based. I have a couple friends who go to something called Body Fit, and in this they have some social events, and they manage to make some friends going there consistently because they see the same faces. So if you go to group classes for sports and activities like this is another great way to make friends. Something else that you can do is also look within your apartment building. Your apartment building might have a management, and in my old apartment building, I know that the management once every few months would have a wine tasting session or some event in the apartment just for the residents to get to know each other and also get to spend some time with the management. This is a great chance for you to actually know the people who you live around, and if you're friends with the people in your apartment complex, that's amazing because you're in close proximity to them, so you'll be able to spend a lot of time with them. And if they're great and friendly people, that's all the better. Um, However, if you don't have a management in the apartment building that organizes these events, I would say that you can also just strike up conversations with people next to you. I remember in my old apartment, I saw someone who just looked like they had a nice t-shirt on, and I just said, "Hey bro, that's a nice t-shirt." And we ended up becoming very good friends because every time we'd pass each other, we'd speak a little bit more until ultimately we exchanged contacts, and then we hung out later on. And then I remember last couple of weeks of me being a resident in that apartment, me and him would hang out maybe like every week, and we'd go out for a meal, go out for brunch, and we became pretty good friends. Another thing is, if you're in the elevator, I remember when I was in the elevator, but maybe that's because I'm extroverted, I found a lot of ways in which I could kind of strike up conversations. But I remember there was a couple there, and they were speaking what sounded like Creole. So I said, "Oh, is that Creole?" And they were like, "Oh yeah." And then we talked about Mauritius and how I lived there, and they said, "Oh, they're from Mauritius." And that also gave a great opportunity to strike up a conversation and create a friendship. Another time is, I remember in the apartment building, I'd see the same gentleman walking in and out, in and out. However, I never said hi to him. He came in. He was walking past me with a cast on his leg, so he'd injured his leg. So I said, "Oh, hey man, I've always seen you walking around, you know, and I noticed that you've got injured. I hope everything's okay." And this is just me out of genuine concern. And after that, we had a conversation. He talked about how he got injured and stuff like that, and we actually exchanged contacts because he said that he was actually looking to make some friends in the apartment, and we ended up forming a wonderful friendship. And he actually invited me to one of his home parties a couple of weeks later, and we continued to maintain a relationship to this day. So there are a couple of ones that I have not tried. However, I have heard that they have been quite useful for making friends. So I'm going to share a couple of these as well. One is co-working spaces or co-working cafes. So this is where you kind of go with your office stuff or whatever stuff you have to do, and you're in a shared space where you get to work alongside people. You're doing separate work, but the environment is conducive as such that you can actually socialize at the same time. Another one is sports leagues. I have a friend who actually joined the cricket league, and he actually excelled very well. He became the captain of his local cricket league, and basically this is where they have maybe 10 teams or so, and normally you have to pay a membership for this for per season, and every week his team plays against other cricket teams. And he talked about how he oftentimes has get-togethers with his cricket teammates and how they get to spend time not only together during matches and training but also outside of this, so they get to know each other personally, because as teammates they also get to become friends in the process. So sports leagues is another great one. I know some people who are in the volleyball sports league and the hockey sports league, so it's quite easy to get into these. I think it's a couple $100 per season to join, and this is a great way to consistently see the same people and actually become friends with your teammates. Another one I've heard is social apps like Bumble BFF. One of my friends told me that this is something that they tried, and they were able to make some friends in the process. I'd like to share some tips that I think helped me in actually being able to form the friendships. For me, it was being proactive. when you're going to a meetup event or something, I think take genuine interest in others and try to consciously seek out connection. I think oftentimes we might just be waiting for people to come to us. However, that's not always the case. Many people are shy. So I think that if you actually are proactive, you're actually showing that you're keen. This is a great way to actually break that ice and actually kind of form a friendship. I also think that if the conversation seems to be going well and you both seem to be quite receptive to each other, you can make out from maybe your communication, engagement, body language, and maybe social cues. I think it might be a good idea for you to maybe exchange contacts, whether they be on Facebook or maybe on phone contact or WhatsApp, whatever it may be. Kind of just offer and say, hey, I'd love to keep in touch, would love to get your contact. More often than not, people are more than happy to exchange contacts. And after you meet, maybe just send a message saying, hey, it was great meeting you, had a wonderful time. And what I'd say is you aren't going to probably see that person again in the next few days. So maintain a thread of communication once every few days. Just maybe send a meme or whatever it may be, or maybe just send a message and just kind of have a bit of a back and forth going on. Even if it's not a very, very consistent, as long as there's a rough thread of communication, that's kind of good. And that is because maybe later on, if you want to do something, you can message them, and it isn't like you've messaged out of the blue because you have maintained a thread of communication. So if I would suggest that if this person said that they enjoy coffee, you can kind of message them and say, hey, I'm actually looking to get coffee, wondering if you want to join because you also said you like coffee. Maybe they said that they enjoy the outdoors. So you can say, oh, I'm actually looking to do a hike. You mentioned that you love the outdoors. Do you want to catch up this weekend to do a hiking trail? Maybe you and I can do that. Or maybe we can go to the park or whatever it may be. So you can kind of, based on what they say they're interested in, you can kind of suggest the next plan to meet on the basis of what they said they're interested in. Something else is that you may also hear a small group of people maybe next to you talking about a topic that you wish you were a part of. I would say in this situation, don't feel shy. If I were you, just kind of join in. So maybe you can say, oh, I'm so sorry, I couldn't help but hear you mentioning this. That's really funny because I am really interested in this. Hope you don't mind me butting into this conversation or joining you guys. I've done this many times and people are totally fine with it, because actually I feel like people actually enjoy it when there's more people to contribute to a discussion, as long as you're polite about it and you're genuinely showing your desire to engage with people, especially on a topic that they're maybe engaged with as it is. That's a great way for you to kind of get in and also join some kind of a circle that's already been established. And then towards the end, you can all exchange contacts. So I think you need to seek a bit of discomfort and be a little bit outgoing with this. Once again, I don't think it's possible for always people to approach us. So I think we also need to take the initiative and kind of approach. I know it sometimes can be scary, but I think the rewards are very great. So I hope this video was helpful for you. If you think I missed anything out, please do leave it in the comments, and maybe other people who are reading the comments could benefit from your suggestion. And if it was helpful, also maybe leave a comment and tell me what was particularly helpful. And till then, I'll catch you. Bye.